to were used for the analysis. The result of the responses were analyzed, and the demographical analysis is presented in the following table. We have male and female with the percentage majority with male. We have ages from 21 till 59 with the percentage majority 77.1 for the age from 21 to 29. We asked about level of education. We have doctoral degree, master's degree, bachelor's degree, and secondary degree with a majority of 88.5% for bachelor's degree. We asked also about the years of experience for the employees working to this kind of organization. We have the majority of responses lies in the area from 1 to 4 years of experience with 52.2%. We have responses from different service types, the information technology, e-commerce, and so on, with the majority of information technology services with 64% of responses. According demographical analysis, to be more shown as a gender, where male with a majority, with age 21 to 29 with a majority, and the highest level of education with a bachelor's degree majority. And according to years of experience, we have 1 to 4 years with a majority. First of all the data collected from the 3 surveys were checked for the normality test. The results were that the data were not normally distributed, so we studied the data with ordinary regression analysis to analyze the relationship between those factors. This is a histogram to clarify that the data wasn't normally distributed according to the frequency of responses and the factor we study. The results for the factors we study described statistics. According to employee satisfaction, the mean was 5.12, and the communication satisfaction mean was 5.06, and the customer satisfaction mean was 5.21, and those standard deviation. According to model fitting information, for the hypothesis 1, the significant level was 0.000, which is so significant. That means that the model fit the data with R squared 0.634, which means that about 63% of the communication satisfaction effect on employee satisfaction. For the hypothesis 2, employee satisfaction and the customer satisfaction, it also was significant with significance level 0.004, which less than 0.05. The significance level we study with R squared about 40%, which means that about 40% of customer satisfaction depends on employee satisfaction for the same organization. For hypothesis 3, which link between communication satisfaction and customer satisfaction, the significance level was 0.026 with R squared about 15%, which was low, with only 15% of customer satisfaction depend on communication satisfaction for the same organization. According to parameter estimates for hypothesis 1, the parameter estimate of communication satisfaction was 2.211 with a significant level 0.000. Hypothesis 2 is parameter estimate was 1.731 and significance level 0.001. According to communication satisfaction, customer satisfaction, which was hypothesis 3, parameter estimate was 0.895 with significance level 0.027. The validation of the model to test the goodness of fat, the significance always always prefer to be above 0.05 to measure to what extent the model fit the data very well, and all the hypotheses were more than 0.05, which is mean that the data fits the significance, or data that fit the model very well. The improvement, according to this study, it concluded that for the virtual e-organizations, which are the industry's future organizations should improve and invest in different communication techniques to achieve more or better employee satisfaction. This study reveals a positive correlation between communication satisfaction and employee satisfaction, with a correlation coefficient 0.774, which is considered as highly correlated. On the other hand, virtual organizations' customers don't deal face-to-face with employees. They always communicate via the internet. However, there are low facial interaction between employees and the customers. There is a positive correlation between employee satisfaction and customer satisfaction, with a correlation coefficient equal 0.539, which is considered also highly correlated. And the last one, the moderate correlation between customer satisfaction and the communication satisfaction, with only correlation coefficient equals to 0.371. The following figure shows the correlation between all those variables. This is the model I have presented at the first of the presentation, and this all numbers are the correlation coefficient between those factors according to significance level equal 0.05. Thank you, guys. Do you have any questions?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Manar. Very interesting findings you have. And this time is for question and answer, right? Anyone from floor may ask Ms. Manar about her presentation? Please go ahead. Could you please turn the PowerPoint page into page 1, Ms. Manar?
PowerPoint to page 1.
This is the title of your presentation. Yeah, okay, thank you. Any question from the floor, please? Are there any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead, sir.
Miss Manar, what is the meaning of virtual organization? This is like a virtual company, or is like virtual groups, or what's the real of e-organization? Thank you, Mr. Manar.
Okay, thank you. There are many types of e-organizations, like organizations such as Amazon, ePay, organizations which are they are already they have physical existence, or they have only e-existence. They have no physical existence. Virtual organizations are a mix of them, or we can specifically say that virtual organization is a kind of e-organizations have many kinds. One of them is virtual organizations. Virtual organizations is a specific kind of e-organizations which combine many organizations at the same time, or people from different organizations at the same time, who collaborate and work together for a specific time. Then they could dissolve these relations after a specific achievement. They always do that gathering or communication or connections to achieve a specific goal. They cannot do this goal by each of them individually. They should combine to each other so they can achieve this goal.
Okay, thank you.
The research conducted in the Egypt, yeah, Ms. Manari.
What?
Your research based on Egypt, right?
Yes.
How many cities involved in this research in Egypt?
They are
Hello? You're muted, Ms. Manari. Sorry, I can hear you.
Can
Yeah.
you hear me?
Yeah, okay. It's back to normal again.
That
How many cities
how
involved?
many cities? About 27.
27 cities. Oh, okay. It's almost
27.
entire area from the Egypt, yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
And
thank
there are responses from people who are not locating in Egypt. They are Egyptian, but they are working to different organizations who are not conditionally working in Egypt. They can work for Amazon UK, they can work for ePay USA from Egypt, and they are Egyptian. Because virtual organization, they can work remotely always. يعني.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that's very clear. Anyone will ask Ms. Manner again before we move on to the next presenter? Okay, I think that will be enough, Ms. Manner. Thank you very much for your very interesting presentation. Shall
Thank
we?
you. Thank you
Okay,
guys.
okay. Shall we move to the lowest number? Yeah, ID 119, Mr. Novinki. Are you ready, sir?
Yes, I'm ready, Mr. Eka.
Okay. Can you share the screen, please?
Okay.
Almost everyone in here are from Indonesia, right? Except for Miss Manar. I don't know who else not from Indonesia.
Okay, can you see my slide?
Okay. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Indra. Good evening in Jakarta and good morning in US. I'm here to present our research about improve small medium enterprise performance with big data. First of all, this is our team. Mr. Inayatullah as the first author, and Ms. Engel, Mr. Ade, Mr. Rajiv, Mr. Muhammad Salman, me, myself, Pinky, Ms. Destiana, and Rizky as the second and other author. First, the introduction. Based on several previous studies, it was formulated that the problem that often arise and become the main problems in the development of MSMEs are aspects of capital or financing. The root of the problem that is still an obstacle for MSMEs is the difficulty in obtaining loans from formal credit institutions, especially banks. MSME problems can be seen from the perspective of the MSME itself and the banking perspective. So there are two perspectives. First from the MSME, and the second is from the banking perspective. From the MSME perspective, the cause that MSME's performance is still low, namely the ability of MSMEs to manage finances, the timelines, and amount of credit acquisition. Meanwhile, if viewed from a banking perspective, the things in MSMEs that are still underperforming, namely financial management capabilities, and also marketing capabilities, and also workforce skills and quality control in productions. Big data is defined as a high volume, high velocity, high variety, high value, and high veracity data, requiring innovative forms of information processing that enable enhanced insight, decision-making, and process automation. Big data analytics technique can deal with a collection of large and complex data sets that are difficult to process and analyze using traditional techniques. Based on the complexity of SME problem and the advantages of big data, this research aims to use big data analysis as a solution to the complexity of SME problems. The big data refers to the data sets that are too large or complex to be dealt with by traditional data processing application software. And data with many fields or rows offer greater statistical power, while data with higher complexity, more attributes or columns, may lead to a higher false discovery rate. And big data analysis challenges includes capturing data, data storage, data analysis, search, sharing, transfer, visualization, querying, updating, information privacy, and also data source. And big data was originally associated with three key concepts. First is volume, second is variety, and third, velocity. The analysis of big data presents challenges in sampling, and thus previously allowing for only observations and sampling. Therefore, the big data often includes with size that exceed the capacity of traditional software to process within an acceptable time and value. Current usage of the term big data tends to revert to the use of predictive analytics, user behavior analytics, or certain other advanced data analytics methods that extract value from big data and sell them to a particular size of data set. There is little doubt that the quantities of data now available are indeed large, but that's not the most relevant characteristic of this new data ecosystem. Analysis of data sets can find new correlation to the spot business trends, prevent diseases, combat crime, and so on. And there are few big data characteristics. First is the volume. The quantity of generated and stored data, the size of the data determines the value and potential insight, and whether it can be considered big data or not. The size of big data is usually larger than terabytes and petabytes. And the other characteristic is the variety, the type and nature of the data. The earlier technology like RDBMS were capable to handle structured data efficiently and effectively. However, the change in type and nature from structured to semi-structured or unstructured challenge the existing tools and technologies. The big data technologies evolve with the prime intention to capture, store, and process the semi-structured and unstructured or variety data generated with high speed or velocity and huge in size or volume. Later, these tools and technologies were explored and used for handling structured data also, but preferable for storage. Eventually, the processing of structured data will still be kept as optional, either using big data or traditional RDBMSs. This helps in analyzing data towards effective usage of the hidden insight exposed from data collected via social media, log files, sensors, etc. Big data draws from text, images, audio, video, plus it completes missing pieces through data fusion. Another characteristic is the velocity, the speed at which the data is generated and processed to meet the demands and challenges that lie in the path of growth and development. Big data is often available in real time. Compared to small data, big data is produced more continually. Two kinds of velocity related to big data are the frequency of generation and the frequency of handling, recording, and publishing. The other characteristic of big data is veracity, the trustfulness or reliability of the data, which refers to the data quality large size, but also must be reliable in order to achieve value in the analysis of it. The data quality of captured data can be greatly affecting an accurate analysis of value. The worth information that can be achieved by the processing and analysis of large data sets Value also can be measured by assessment of the other qualities of fidelity of information that is retrieved from the analysis of big data. The other characteristic of big data is variability. The characteristic of the changing formats, structure, or sources of big data. Big data can include structured, unstructured, or combinations of structured and unstructured data. Big data analysis may integrate raw data from multiple sources. The processing of raw data may also involve transformations of unstructured data to structured data. And this research begins with the many problems of SMEs that directly and indirectly hinder the development of SMEs. Another factor that initiated this research is the solution offered to solve SME problems are partial, so that the impact of the solution provided does not solve the problem. The next research stage is to identify alternative solutions that can comprehensively solve SME problems using information technology. After going through several stages of searching, the author decided to use big data technology as a solution that offers a complete solution to the problem of SMEs. The final stage of the research is to create a big data model to improve the performance of SMEs. And this picture is represent the research method. As you can see, this is the problem that has to be identified on the SME's performance, and then classifying the problems, and then find alternative solution with uncomprehensive approach, and then determine big data as a solution, and then create big data model to increase SME's performance. And this is the methodology that we are using. We will describe this picture in the next slide. And the models that on the previous slide are divided into a database source. The database source in big data comes from the MSE's internal database, such as information on sales, customers, suppliers, and others. External data come from outside the SME database, which is usually unstructured data or information with various forms of data and information from social media, internet, and others. Acquisition and discovery process. The data acquisition has two components, namely the identification and collection of big data. Big data identification is done by analyzing two data formats, namely born digital and born analog data. Born digital data is information that is captured through digital media, such as computer applications, smartphones, and so on. This type of data is ever expanding This type of data has an ever-expanding rate as the system continues to collect various types of information from users. One of the functions of born digital analog data is that it can track and provide demography information such as cookies, web analytics, and GPS tracking. Born analog data is information in the form of images, video, and other formats related to the physical elements of the world. This data must be converted into digital format using sensors such as cameras, voice recordings, digital assistants, and so on. The second step in the data acquisition process is the collection and storage of data identified as big data. Because DBMS techniques cannot be used to manage big data, there is a need for new method to collect and store big data. The methods are distributed storage and massive parallel processing, or MPP. And the other models, the process model, preparation process. Data preparation is the process of cleaning and transforming raw data prior to the processing and analysis. It is an important step prior to processing and often involves reformatting data, making correction to data, and the combining of data sets to enrich data. Data preparation is often a lengthy undertaking for data professional or business user, but it is essential as a prerequisite to put data in context to turn it into insight and eliminate bias resulting from poor data quality. Next is data model. The concept of big data modeling includes two software terminologies within it, namely data modeling and big data. The term big data refers to the large amounts of data produced by companies in the modern contemporary world. This kind of data is devoid of any constant patterns and is complex by nature. It becomes impossible for companies to analyze this data in traditional methods. These complex data types can be analyzed using high-quality data modeling methods. In this context, it has to be understood that the term data modeling implies the method of organizing the data in such visual patterns that the process of data analysis can be performed with ease. The techniques include the process of making visual representation of the whole parts of the dataset. And the results are, the models are divided into data visualization, and the results of the processes carried out on big data are displayed in a visual form. Big data will display the best marketing strategy for the SMEs in the form of graphs or tables. Big data can also produce the best product design for SMEs and other suggestions and recommendations that can be used by SMEs to improve the performance of SMEs. And the conclusion is the complexity of SME problems causes SMEs to be unable to develop their business because one problems will cause new problems to emerge, while on the other hand, efforts to find solutions are carried out partially so that they do not solve the problem. Big data offers comprehensive solution for all SME problems. The use of structured and unstructured data is one of the important parts of big data, which will be the basis for solution recommendation for SMEs. And if there's any question, please feel free to ask.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Any question from floor for this presentation? Very interesting findings. Can you move the PowerPoint into the page 1? So the title, back to the title. Okay, thank you. This is the title, and any question from floor? There are no questions. Okay, Mr. Pinky, I think it will be enough. Yeah. Thank you, sir, for your presentation.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
And we will move to the next presentation. Will be Mr. Salman. Yeah, 122. We begin from the lowest number. Mr. Salman, are you ready?
Ready, sir.
Okay. You can share your screen, please. Actually, Mr. Salman is one of my colleagues. Yeah, and this is also my research, and we are from one team. But this presentation will be carried out by Mr. Salman himself. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Salman. Please go on.
Can you see our slide?
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for this opportunity. Good morning, everyone. And in this good opportunity, let me to present our research under title Blockchain Model for the Halal Tourism Industry to ensure that tourism companies provide service according to Islamic rules. And this is our authors. First is Mr. Inayatullah, Mr. Indra, and Ms. Maisharah. And here I am Mr. Salman, Mr. Sauki, and Mr. Abror. For introduction, halal tourism was developed to meet the demands of Muslim in non-organization of Islamic Conference or OIC countries in terms of mosque, such as offering place of worship, halal restaurant, and other services. And many countries have continue providing tourism products, services, and equipment to fulfill the needs of Muslim tourists in order to explore the huge potential of halal tourism. And the problem arises related to halal tourism for industries that want to enter the halal tourism industry by not having good knowledge about halal tourism. And the problem are also found for Muslim tourists who have difficulty finding information on halal tourism in a country. And here, blockchain technology has the advantage of validating and verifying transaction at its node that can be applied to the halal tourism industry. Next, the literature. Blockchain is a collection of blocks that are constructed and disseminated in a sequentially. Each transaction has a ledger as well as specific components, data, hash of the previous block. And blockchain refers to software application are used to construct blocks that are linked together to execute transaction. So halal tourism is a significant that is facilitated by a variety of infrastructure and activities that are Sharia compliant and offered by the society, companies, government, and municipal councils. And many people choose halal tourism because of the typically defined of its goods and services. If they don't clash with Sharia morals and ideals, tourism goods and service, vacation product, and tourist attraction in Sharia tourism are just like tour package offerings, items, and locations in general. And halal tourism, as a novel idea in the tourism sector, needs considerable growth and knowledge, as well as more complete grasp of Islamic values utilized in tourism operation. Next, research method. First, we identification the problem in halal tourism industry. So we learn halal tourism requirement by the literature review. So we identify goals of halal tourism for customer and company. So we identify alternative solution with information technology, and the last determine blockchain technology as a solution with transparency and transaction security in halal tourism. And this is the result and discussion. In this picture, we can explain that the government through the Ministry of Religion determines regulation regarding service requirement that must be provided by companies in the halal tourism industry. So second, companies must provide halal food service in accordance with the criteria set by the government. And third, halal standard entertainment is entertainment that is accordance with Islamic laws, such as not joining in one place for men and women who are not siblings, covering their genital and others. And number four, halal standard fashion is clothing that is in accordance with Islamic law for women, such as covering all parts of the body except the face and arms. And number five, halal standard hotel facilities are hotel facilities such as waiting rooms, dining rooms, and other that spare men and women who are not mahram. Number six, halal standard payment system is a payment system that doesn't contain usury. So number seven, every company that will join the halal tourism industry must follow all the halal requirements that have been determined for every food service, entertainment, clothing, hotel, and payment system. So number eight, when the company makes a transaction on each of these services, the transaction will become a new block that is broadcast to all nodes in the blockchain network. And number nine, each new block that will enter the blockchain network will go through a validation process. And number 10, each new block that is stored consists of a block header and has value. And the last, number 11, halal tourism customer and the government can view all service facilities provided by halal tourism service companies through a website where the website is directly connected to the blockchain network. And the last for conclusion is by using a blockchain network, a service provider company on halal tourism that doesn't know the regulation regarding halal tourism requirements will understand these requirements because when the company will transact on one type of service, the company must understand. And every transaction made will go through a validation process before entering the blockchain-based service system, so that the stored transaction will be guaranteed security because the will go through the validation process in all nodes in the blockchain network. And transaction also have a higher level of security because before being stored, each transaction will be encrypted with a hash function in its block. Maybe enough here of our presentation. Thank you, and I give back the time to Mr. Indra.
Okay,
Thank
okay.
you.
Thank you, Mr. Salman. Is there any question for this presentation? Mr. Salman, please go back the the PowerPoint. Yeah, okay, thank you. Are there any question for this presentation? Please go ahead from the floor. No questions? No questions being asked to you?
Maybe enough, sir.
Maybe enough. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Salman. We will
Thank you.
continue. Okay, okay. We will continue to the presentation number 123, ID 123, Mr. Inayatullah. Are you ready? Are you ready, sir?
I am ready. Okay, I'm
Okay.
ready.
You can share your screen, please.
Thank you. Okay, I will share my screen. This is our topics about the transparency of the COVID-19 vaccine distribution
Okay.
using
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
distribution using blockchain technology. Sorry, I will state so. Okay. The number of victims of COVID-19 virus is continuous. It's continuous. So the government requires effective prevention effort. One of the factors that can reduce the number of victims of COVID is vaccination of our citizens. We supported by an even distribution of vaccine to all regions in Indonesia. But currently, the distribution process is experiencing problem due to abuse of authority by vaccine distributor and the uneven distribution of vaccine. Sorry. Excuse me. And then COVID-19 pandemic is big challenge in attempt to improve Indonesian people's quality of life and has a influence of the Indonesian healthcare system, as evidenced by the decline in production in many health programs. This to the urgency of dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as general police and officer concerned about COVID-19 transmission. In some cases, in some areas, the COVID pandemic situation has even resulted in temporary closure and or delay of health services. And then vaccination is one of the government's attempts. The government attempts to minimize COVID-19 transmitting, improve patient outcomes due to COVID-19, and attain vaccination rates, and keep the public safe from the COVID-19, so that it can continue to stay politically and environment productive. And then herd immunity can only be found in vaccination coverage intense and spread evenly throughout the region, when compared to establish the primary prevention through the provider of vaccination programs will be far more cost effective. However, in the distribution of COVID-19 vaccine, there are several problems, including abuse of authority by vaccine distributors and the uneven distribution of vaccine. Okay, I will skip. I will explain the blockchain. Blockchain is the series of data, records the data managed by a computer system. It's not owned by any entity. This blockchain system does not require transaction fees like infrastructure. And all parties must give their consensus in advance to be able to carry out the transaction deletion. And then this is the extent of blockchain and distribution. blockchain has been applied in several research related to distribution, such blockchain for energy distribution, for the energy types in accordance to the provision that's set by government, and for the education for commerce. Okay, and then I will explain about the distribution vaccine, conventional, traditional. This is the mechanism of vaccine distribution. You can see the top of this picture is vaccine manufacturing company, and then they send the vaccine to the central government, and the central government send to the vaccine distribution company, and then vaccine distribution company will send the vaccine to the provincial, district, and the licensed hospital and the society. And every level, provincial, district, hospital, will make confirmation to central government. So this is the methods that we have a problem in a vaccine distribution. After we find a problem, so we can find the alternate solution. So especially for the IT approach. So the blockchain is the best solution to solve this problem. Okay, this is our result and discussion. We have at least 4 or 5 part in this diagrams. The first one is government, central government in this one. And then central government disseminate information about the vaccine to the blockchain network, this one. And then the information will validate, will make a validation process. It means the information in block, it will be broadcast in every node in blockchain. And then after the content of block is valid, so the new block will be one of many blocks in blockchain network, in blockchain network in this one. So the provincial health office, when they make a report about the vaccine distribution, so the blockchain network can make a validation. This is a right or wrong data information from the provincial health. It is for the next step is vaccine receipt society by society. In every node, society, provincial, district have a same process to make validation. If they provide the right information, so the block will be validated, and the new block will be one of blockchain network. Okay, the conclusion is the model generated from this research help the government in distributing the COVID-19 vaccine transparently and in real time with the following explanation. The implementation of blockchain in the distribution of COVID-19 vaccine cover all potential abuse of authority by parties involved in distribution of the COVID-19 vaccine. Because every information transaction related to the distribution of vaccine is known by all stakeholders in blockchain network transparency. And then the implementation of blockchain is vaccine distribution is also prevent uneven distribution of vaccine because when the provincial, district, and hospital health office confirm the number of vaccine received by basically with information that should be haven't received through a different blockchain network, the blockchain system will reject it. So this condition will prevent the unequal distribution of vaccine that not accordance with the provision of central government. Okay, thank you. Any question?
Yes, thank you, sir. Is there any question for this presentation from the floor? Any question? I think there are no questions for you, Mr. Inayato. Shall you, sir, you continue to the presentation number 1 to 4?
Okay.
So,
okay, I will
okay.
continue my.
Okay. Please go ahead for the presentation number 1 to 4, sir.
Okay. Okay, this is the next title of a government assistance monitoring model for the social assistance. The previous research talk about the vaccine. That's this research talk about the social assistance for COVID-19 victims. Okay, I think we know this the effect of the coronavirus disease is impact not only health but also the social and economic condition. So the
Sorry,
government,
sorry, sir. Can you make
yes,
it larger, this screen? Make it presentation.
so.
Okay, thank you, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay. We know COVID-19 pandemic has impact on not only health but also the social and economic condition. So the government seek the reduce to the burden of household expenditure through expansion of the basic food program participation and cash assistance, especially to meet food need for improved community nutrition. However, many village had a village official corrupt the social assistant, so that welfare is not enjoyed by the village community, but only enjoyed by the village head or the other official. So blockchain technology is technology that offer a high level of transparency and security with several built-in features. So this purpose of this research is to help government oversee the provision of social assistance so that the stones can be distributed according to their destination. Okay, this is the conventional model mechanism of village fund assistance. You can see this. The first is channel bank. Bank is private send report to the government about the social assistance provider, and then channel bank is provide to send to the money, the fund to the social assistance recipient, and then the channel bank so send the money from the ATM to the e-warung. It's like a offline store. E-warung is offline store. This is the conventional mechanism of village fund assistance. Then this is the mechanism of blockchain. In this picture, we can see that if transaction is requested, so the transaction is represent of transaction created, and then it's a block. It's one of block, and then the block is sent to every node in the network. If a transaction, one transaction will be sent to the one of all of the nodes in network, and then in every node will make a validation about the new blocks. If the transaction is valid based on validation process in every node, so the new block will be one of the blockchain network. So this is the research method. The first step is there is problem when the distribution of fund distribution by the victim of COVID-19. So after we find the problem, so we have to investigate about the alternate solution, especially for the based on technology. So we find that the best solution is by the blockchain technology, because the blockchain technology can make a transparency transaction, and then the high security of transaction. Okay, this is the proposed model. The first step is government. For this case is a social assistance provider. Government for they send the same information in blockchain network, and the blockchain network can receive the information from the government, channel banks, and the e-warung or the offline store, and then in every nodes like channel bank, government, offline store can check and recheck about information in blockchain network. Okay, after they connect the network, blockchain network, all of process make a validation process. And every verified process involve PIN, amount of social assistant, and other information in every blockchain. And then the new blockchain is added to the existing blockchain in a way that's permanent and unalterable. And the last step is the customer can see the transaction complete with the file information about the fund assistant, social assistant provider. Okay, the last one is conclusion. The proposed government assistant monitoring model for social assistance for COVID-19 victim based on blockchain technology is the best solution to eliminate corruption social assistance for victim of COVID-19 pandemic. So that is very effective in supporting the distribution of social assistance for victim of the COVID-19 pandemic. This model also offers transaction transparency, high value for a stakeholder, which will facilitate that reporting of budget source from the state budget. Okay, thank you for my presentation.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Inayatullah. That will be very constructive finding as from the Indonesian perspective. COVID and the blockchain, there are two most, we can say, new incoming, unexpected. Yeah. Anyway, thank you, sir, for your presentation. Any question for previous presentation by Mr. Inayatullah from the floor? Any questions? There are no questions. Okay, Mr. Inayatullah, we shall continue to the next presentation, which is presentation number 1 to 5. Yeah, Mr. Prasetya, are you ready, sir?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, please go ahead, share your screen.
Okay.
Okay, you may continue, sir. Make it as the presentation mode, please. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, I will present in IEOM-Orlando 2022 with the title is Integrated Model Knowledge Management System and e-Government to Improve Community Services. Yeah. This is the authors. The first author is Mr. Inayatullah, and then me is Prasetya Saputra, and then Ms. Siti Elda Herrera. I'm from Bina Nusantara University, School of Information System. And then the other author is Muhammad Rehan Adrul, Sahwi Saad El Hasan, Mr. Niko Jundarto, Rivaldi, and Muhammad and Sugeng Rianto. Okay, the first is I'll talk about the introduction. Yeah, public services is an obligation that must be given by the government and its apparatus to the community related to the basic needs of the public institutions who have fulfilled their obligations. This according by Gao and Xinjiang 2020. These public services seen from the community as a citizen are rights will view from the side of the government and its apparatus are obligations. Public services are divided into three types, namely in the form of public goods, public services, and the administrative services. The services through the decentralization of authority that gave birth to regional autonomy are expected to more easily meet the expectation and needs of the public. Because the span of the control is shorter, public services provider better understand the cultural condition and needs of local communities. The community's sense of belonging against their government is stronger because they are elected directly from the local community. This is according from Lover in 2021. However, in daily practice, it turns out that public services cannot be felt as expected. In terms of the pattern of implementation, public services still have various weaknesses, including the less responsive. This is according from Baldwin et al. 2018. Less informative, according Beckerman et al. 2019, and then less accessible according Levik and Laura 2020, lack of coordination according from Tabunan et al. 2018. Electronic government is the use of the internet network is this emanating information and government services to the public. The application of the government, which was later known as digital government, online government, or in certain contexts, transformational government, has proven to facilitate reciprocal interaction digitally between the government and the community. This is according by Valley 2019. And then the literature review, because we talk about the knowledge management system. What is the knowledge management system? The knowledge management system is the process of creating, collecting, sharing, using, and managing knowledge and information from a company. In the company, there are two types of knowledge, namely tacit and explicit. Tacit knowledge or know-how is the knowledge that is still in the form of truth in the human head. This knowledge is rather difficult to communicate, understand, and translate into other, more structured from because it is based on personal experience or intuition and depend on context. Meanwhile, explicit knowledge or know what is the knowledge that has been represented in certain media. This knowledge is easy to communicate, understand, and translate into other, more structured form so that it can be managed by knowledge management system. Yeah, this is according by Schneiderman et al. In 2020. This is the research methods. The research was initiated with the increasing complexity of the government services because of improving the quality of government services to society. Improving service quality must be accompanied by increased knowledge of government staff needed to support effort to improve service quality. The research is continued by looking for alternative solutions that can integrate the e-government system and knowledge management system, which will make it easier for government staff to increase their knowledge to support the improvement of government services to society. The final stage of the research is to build a KMS and e-government integration model to improve the quality of government services. This is the proposed model. Yeah, I will explain about this model. This employee, citizen, and the business, and then can access in the web portal. In the web portal, this is the include e-health, e-police, e-tax, and e-education. And then from the input from the employee, citizen, and business, this can save to the central database or in data center. And then the data will transfer to web portal, and this is the knowledge management system in this portal. And then the output will give to transfer back to central database, and then will until to web portal and receive to employee and citizen business. And this is the all the process need the database, and the database will they are the knowledge database, and then the many database in backend. Yeah, the population registry, statistic, and the certificate, medical information, personal document, and the company registration, tax, and the others information. Okay, I think this is the proposed model with the in the practice. This is the big application. Yes, I think this is the not easy to create the big application like this. And this is the conclusion. The system interface is an important part of the model offer because the function of the system interface is to combine knowledge management system and e-government. The integration concept offered from this model is a solution for government staff to provide the best services for all government stakeholders because the capabilities and knowledge of government staff are always updated with a knowledge management system. Okay, thank you very much, sir. This is our presentation. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, Mr. Prasetya, for your very interesting findings for this model for the government to improve community service. Are there any questions for this presentation? Please raise your hand or directly ask Mr. Satya. There are no questions. Okay. If there are no questions, okay, very well. Thank you for your time, Mr. Prasetya.
Okay,
We will
thank you, Mr.
continue.
Indra.
Okay. I will share my screen here. Sorry, looking for the right. Okay. Miss Manar, do you have another presentation for the ID 29? Sorry. Correction, for the ID 56, Miss Manar, can you hear me? Okay. I'm sharing this today agenda. We have undergone to the presentation number 56, 119, 120, 22, sorry, 123, 124, and 125, For the 188, are there any Mr. Clarence? Mr. Clarence is not here. Madeline is not here. Okay. ID number 188. There are no one here, And Miss Manar, do you ready for another presentation? For the ID number 56, Still not undergone the presentation. You are already presented the number of, oh, sorry, my mistake. You are presenting the number 56, but the 29 has not presented yet, Miss Manar? Is that correct?
They are the same. ID 29, the ID 56 is the same topic.
Oh, the same topic. Oh, okay. So,
Okay.
it made me confused. Sorry. So, there are only one left. 188. Factor affecting to the usage of online booking sites. Comparative analysis on Agoda, booking, and hotels. There are no Mr. Clarence here, and Madeleine. Okay. If that's so, we may conclude that this presentation we have gone through the whole presenters. Many thanks for your coming. and I'm very sorry for my English. Not very good. I'm Indonesian, by the way, and my English is not very good. Hopefully, you can understand what I said. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for coming and thank you for your presentation. There are very interesting new findings in our research today. Yeah. Thank you. Shall we end this presentation? Oh, by the way, I will make the pictures of these 7 present participants. Would you mind me to, yeah, in my particular notebook, the camera is not on. My camera is not operating very well, yeah. So I will make the presentation. Sorry. I will make the family photo for this event. Anyway, there are only 7 people in here. For you that can turn on your camera, please turn on. We'll make the photograph from here. Okay, get ready. 1, 2, and 3. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you again on the next IOM. Hopefully, I'm not host anymore. I'm very sorry for this session if there are mistaken words or else that I made. Okay, many thanks. I'll see you around, and I will leave this meeting back
thank you, Mr.
to.
Indra.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Yunaito, Mr. Salman.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Miss Mena. Thank you very much from Egypt. Everyone is here from Indonesia mostly. Yeah. Pleased to meet you, Miss Manar. Yeah. Okay, I will back this session to Mr. Ahad, but he's not here yet. Okay, if you like to leave the presentation room, you may leave. We'll see you again in the next meeting. Yeah, hopefully you will you are always in good health. Okay, I'll see you around.